today, being the first class, I will give you an introduction about some of the important core concepts like building blocks of Anaplan. What is Anaplan? Which industries use Anaplan? How it would work, right?
Okay.
So basically, in simple terms, I don't know how much you've seen. So simple terms, Anaplan is a cloud-based planning tool, right? Whatever you do on Excel, you can do it in Anaplan, but Anaplan handles huge data set. In Excel, if you have 1 million records, it will be very slow.
Yes.
Okay. And if you have multiple worksheets with complex formulas, it tends to become very slow, and it's not feasible. And it's also on-premise Excel. So whatever you do on Excel is local to your machine, to yourself. I can't view it unless and until you share it with me. But Anaplan is on the cloud. Anyone can access it at any time, and it is very dynamic. So we have a model. You are working from your end, doing some changes. Within few seconds, I can see those changes, and even I can start working on top of that. Right. So it is that flexible, dynamic, and there is no restriction in terms of how much data it can handle. 1 million, 2 million, even 5 million data set, it can handle very smoothly. And with even that large data sets, when you make changes to the formula at the back end, it will still fire, and it will still give you dynamic results, right? And one more beauty is that it is one place to update. It gets updated, like wherever it is referenced, everywhere the changes flow in. Okay.
Okay.
So for example, if you make changes at the list level, the data is used in the module data changes, and if that module is used in a dashboard, the dashboard also reflects those changes. So it's very dynamic. Changes flow in dynamically everywhere throughout that model.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, Anaplan is a cloud-based planning tool. Like, it's an Excel on steroids, very powerful Excel. That way you can say, right? And some of the important business cases is like for finance industries, Anaplan is used for agile budgeting. Basically, to have a budget plan for in terms of what was the revenue, what is the overall budget, what was the revenue, what is the expenditure, where we are in terms of profit and loss, and how you want to forecast that for next year. That is agile budgeting, right? Financial consolidation, like if you have a lot of
Uh,
data.
uh, can you repeat that agile budgeting once?
Yeah, what I'm saying, right? Agile budgeting isn't like you have a total budget, like you are running an organization. You know what is your revenue, you know what is the expenses to get that revenue, right? So there is your revenue, there is expenses, and then you want to find out your profit and loss, right,
Okay.
for the current year. So with that data, you want to forecast it for next year.
Okay.
Okay, then you go with agile budgeting. And with this agile budgeting, you see a lot of data changes happening, right? Agile methodology, have you heard about agile methodology?
Ah,
Like,
yes, yes. Mm.
okay, simple terms to say, right? Agile methodology, like there is a software life cycles, software development life cycle. You have waterfall model, then you have
Oh,
agile model. There are multiple things. So in waterfall, right, how it works is it happens sequentially. Like any if any project comes, first the requirements will come. You
okay.
understand the requirements, you then draw which is feasible requirement, then which is not feasible. So then you close out the requirements, right? Those gaps you close out. Once the requirements is closed, then with those requirements that is feasible, you lay out a design plan. how will
Okay.
you how will you eventually implement that requirement, right? So you come out with a design document, right? And once you get a sign off on the design, you start building.
Okay.
So it is a sequential, one step after other. First requirements, then design, then you start with the build. Eventually, once the build is complete, you ask the client or the customer to test that build, whatever you have built, right? So once testing is also done, you eventually go live and deploy that model to the end user. So that is waterfall. Whereas in agile, how it would work is you get the requirements, you try to understand the requirements. At the same time, parallelly, you start with the design.
Okay.
Once you are doing with the design, on the same time you want to start the build also. Like you do everything parallelly, not wait for one phase to complete, another phase to start. You start doing parallelly. Simple terms, it's like if you don't know to drive a car, you're trying to build a car and also trying to learn how to drive the car.
Okay.
Okay, so like that. So in this way it will be very fast, and then it can also bring in changes to the requirements. Agile methodology can say if there is any new requirement coming in, or if there is a changes to the existing requirement itself, you incorporate those changes in your design and also incorporate it in your build. So it is more dynamic, more robust in nature, right? So most customers or most Anaplan projects, they will implement agile methodology. Okay, so everything
Okay.
happens parallelly, and then you eventually ask the customer to test it out. And sometimes the testing also will happen at the time of building only. Okay, usually it
Okay.
will be like sprint projects, Anaplan projects. Like there might be 3 sprints, 4 sprints, meaning
Mm-hmm.
one sprint will be 4 weeks.
Okay.
Okay. So in first sprint they would have some deadlines, like within this 1 month you should complete these modules, these dashboards. Okay. And within that 1 month, every day there will be like scrum meeting. Every team member within that project will join the call, and they will give one status saying what they are working on, what was completed, what they are currently working, what are the open challenges to accomplish their current task. Only three
Okay.
things they will discuss. Every day there will be stand up meeting. Okay, so in that way it will be more effective. Like if you are a team manager, or if senior leadership, senior manager is joining that meeting, he wants to listen to that entire team members, what everyone is working on. It will be more effective, right? Scrum meeting. So they will get a clear picture where what are the hurdles, where we are lying, and eventually are we able to achieve that task within that 1 month or not.
Okay.
So it will be that fast. So first month one sprint, second month sprint two, third month sprint three, and eventually end of beginning end of third month or fourth month, it will be go like testing, go live. Okay, in these
Okay.
3 months only the customers will keep changing the requirements, design will change, build will change, and like everything will happen very quick.
Okay.
So Anaplan projects, mostly it will be short projects and it will be very fast.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
like that. So then you also use it for sales forecasting, right? So sales forecasting, as in say, if you're running a company, you have like 5 products that company manufactures. Okay, and that products is sold across multiple geographies. Okay,
Okay.
you, based on the current year sales data, you want to forecast the data for the next year, and you also want to ensure you have minimal expenses for that, and eventually result in good profit.
Okay.
Okay, so for selling anything you will have expenses, right? Like shipping cost, sales rep incentives, distribution, like you'll have to pay to the distributors, and you'll have to give good deals to the customers and things like that, right? So all of that will be considered to forecast your sales. So then
Okay.
the Anaplan will be useful for that. Why? Because you can set up versions within Anaplan and eventually know, like based on the current year data, how you can forecast the data for next year.
Okay.
Okay, like that we have again configure price quote. This is again module within sales. There is pricing of a product, selling, like what quota you need to assign, what pricing you need to keep eventually, so that how sales reps will be paid. like uh, we should ensure that we are not paying more to the sales reps. Also at the same time, we should not make sales reps feel that they are underpaid, because if you're losing your sales rep, then you're losing your revenue also, right? So sales will be direct sales, indirect sales, and all of that. So we should ensure that right pricing is kept, and right payments are done. Okay,
Okay.
and and that portion also will incorporate incentive compensation planning, like how much incentives you need to pay, as I said, right? How much commissions you need to give. All of that you can do within Anaplan, right? And also if you have a lot of territories, sales territories, how you manage that. Within a territory there might be one sales manager, and underneath him there might be like 10 sales reps. How you assign the quota for them, and which location, like which territory to assign to them, so that right, at least 100% sales has been hit. And there might be natural calamities and other stuff also, right? So everything will be considered, but eventually you will get to forecast, and you will know where you are at the end of that year.
Okay.
Okay, so I've listed all the business use cases here. Whatever I like, some these are some of the important things, but yeah, any customer or any organization using Anaplan, they use it for these six business cases, right? Industries, you can say. I have worked mostly on sales part.
Mission.
So, but end of the day, if you know how to build a model, you can build it in for any industry, right? So the functional knowledge you will not be aware, but from technical perspective you would know, right?
Okay.
So maybe after you finish the training and you have a good knowledge when you give the interview, you should be more focused from technical perspective.
Right.
Forget about functional. Like, you might not know much about budgeting, forecasting, strategic financial consolidation. These things are like a finance guy, an MBA guy will know well. Okay, so for you this might be difficult. So functional knowledge you will gain when you get onto a project that is on the project learning, when you try to understand the customers current business processes, you will understand that finance or that functional knowledge. But what I'm saying, the technicalities will remain the same. Building a model, building a list, modules, importing data, all of that will be same across any industry. So
Okay.
you should focus from IT side, from technical side,
IT side. Right.
right? Okay, so these use cases for the like to implement or plan these businesses, Anaplan will be used. Mainly, I have worked on sales forecasting, territory quota managements, and some portions of commission calculation also, right?
Okay.
In my organization, in my last company, they had one internal Anaplan models also, like for resource allocations, for project management, to understand. Like, it was a very big team, like 150, 160 people were there across various locations. The senior managers, directors, they wanted to know which resource is working on which project, whether they are on bench or not, how much they are getting utilized, how many ongoing projects are there, which projects are in the pipeline, what is the total revenue, and things like that. Those things they were managing within Anaplan. That was like an internal workspace they had to manage that, right? So the client workspaces will be there for customers, and also they would have built some demo models kind of thing. So they will show to the customer, like saying these things you can do in Anaplan before any project comes. Okay, they do like an RFP kind of thing, request for proposal. Before any project comes to the organization, the client will want to understand like what all things you can do in Anaplan. Like, this is their current system, these many problems they have, they come with this problem statement. So customer, right, like the organization who is having Anaplan resources, they would have built some demo models, some proposal models kind of thing. They show that to the customer having the problem, saying these things you can do, these dashboards you can build, this is how Anaplan would work. Like that, they will project to the customer and eventually get that project.
Okay.
Okay, so they like you. I'm giving scenarios where and all Anaplan can be used, right? So if you work for a client-based organization, service-based organization, then these things they will have. Like if you go into Accenture, TCS, big companies, they will have workspaces, Anaplan workspaces, and they do this only.
Okay.
Okay, even with EY, Deloitte, these companies also do that. So like you have a lot of opportunity, whether it is product based or service based, where you get in. It might be in any of this functional domain that you will get in, but you should not worry about that. You should all focus on, see, when you get into a project, you will get to understand the functional knowledge also, that will come. That is part of that job. You'll understand more things, but technical side, you should have that grip, and eventually you will learn more things from technical side also.
Okay.
Okay.
This demand planning, supply chain, these words I have listened while doing training.
Okay, these things you have gone through in the training, is it?
Demand planning,
Correct,
supply chain
correct, yeah.
something.
Yeah, supply chain, I think in level 2 it will come, na?
Level two, level
Yeah,
sprint three.
correct, sprint 3, correct, yes.
That one I
So
have faced very much difficult, and even I didn't get that.
okay, okay, so we, This is fine, right? You have any questions here?
No, no, sir. No.
Pretty generic slide. Okay, so I've given some URL where success stories are there for real project experiences, like, well, customers have written on the Anaplan profile, Anaplan site, about their
Okay.
implementation and how they have felt. You can just I'll give you this presentation after the class. You can just
Okay.
read them. Okay, so then let's get started with some of the building blocks, right? Like, throughout the training we will be using these terms. You have already gone through the training, you will have an
Mm.
understanding, but let me give you a recap, right? So
Okay.
basically there are 5 things within Anaplan, very, and these terms will be used again and again every time. So workspace, right? Basically workspace is the private space any organization purchases on the
Okay.
Anaplan cloud. So it is a space that is dedicated for that customer. They can build models within that workspace, and n number of models. So it will be like a 50 gigabyte space, or maybe just a 5 gigabyte space, or 1 terabyte space, depending upon the contract SOW. That space will be given on the cloud for that customer, dedicated only for that. So the other customers, the other organizations will not be able to see that workspace. It is
Okay.
private. Okay, few organizations purchase one workspace, they might have two workspaces also, like one they will keep it for finance, one they will keep it for sales, like that. Okay, and for that workspace there will be one administrator who is like a super user who has access to every single model,
Okay.
and that administrator will grant permissions to the other users who should get access to which model and things like that. So not
Okay.
necessary like everyone will have access to every model within that workspace. Just like administrator will have, that's it. Okay.
Okay.
Any question on the workspace? Clear?
What is the maximum limit of workspace?
Maximum limit. I have seen 500 gigabyte. More than that, I have not seen. The
500.
biggest one. I don't think there is a limit kind of thing.
The free access which I got, it is only 1 GB.
That one they will give, yes, a smaller one. Usually companies go with bigger one, right? They will have a lot of models. And this workspace that they take now, like service based companies, they will take a bigger one. Why? Because they will have a bigger team, they will have to build many models, demo models, RFPs, and they will create internal models also to plan their resources, projects, and all of that,
Okay.
right? But the customer who is coming with the problem, they will suggest what size they should take depending upon the data
Okay.
set also.
Okay.
Like if that customer is getting lot of data, like transaction data, HR data, customer data, product data, like depending upon the amount of data, they will also suggest like go with this much, how many models they want to build. Eventually it should not be like a very tight situation, and uh, understanding for like 10 years down the line, they once they implement that model, they should use it for like a long run, right? And they suggest like what space to go in, how, like they analyze that, and based on the data set size, volume, and they just suggest that.
And
There is no limit as such actually.
mm, if the data is not sufficient, we can extend or.
Like if you're running short of the workspace size, you're saying,
Yes. Suppose if we are taken 15 GB
then they will have
finished,
to go with another workspace.
another
uh,
workspace, right?
yeah, I don't think they will extend that existing one. Depends upon the SOW also, how the customer and the Anaplan has been signed up on the contract.
Mm.
Eventually you are paying Anaplan, right, for that one. Now 1 GB space is free for you, but
Mm.
for big organizations, when they get the workspace, they will pay like $1,500 to $2,000, like that they pay.
Okay.
And that will be like a 6 months contract or 1 year contract, like that it might be there. So
Okay.
based on that subscription that they take, uh, the terms and conditions will be there. Usually the leaders will decide upon that one, and if you're a partner firm with Anaplan, then you will get it for good deals also,
Okay.
like that. Okay, so now within this workspace you can build many models. Okay, So model is like a complete, you can say model as like one Excel workbook, one complete workbook. Like within workbook, you'll have multiple worksheets, right?
Right.
Right. So you can consider like that model. One model will be one Excel workbook.
Okay.
Then it will be like within one folder, and that folder will be like one workspace for you, just
Right.
correlating for you. Okay, so now within this model, you'll have lists, modules, dashboards. You'll have all the data pertaining to that area of business.
Right.
Okay, so everything will be contained within that model, and any changes in the data will lead to recalculation automatically within that model. Okay, so it's like this, like within one Excel workbook, you would have written formulas in one worksheet to reference data from another worksheet. You change the data in the source worksheet, the referenced worksheet, the data also changes, right?
Right.
Because there is change in the data. So like that, within the model, all data will be self-contained within that. If whenever the changes in the data, wherever it is referenced or used, the updates will flow in automatically. Okay, and
Okay.
sometimes there are some pre-built models, like you can refer to that to understand how a model should be built, what best practices you need to follow, what should be the naming conventions and things like that. Some pre-built models will also come when you purchase workspace from Anaplan, right? Like a guideline model kind of thing. Okay.
Mm.
Here, if you see, you have one cube for sales, one for finance, one for product. Usually, we will not do like this. If you want to plan your sales side of business, you keep one workspace and you will build multiple models pertaining to sales. And
Okay.
for finance, you will have it as a separate workspace. Because sales and finance, unless and until you want to merge anything, then you go within the same workspace, right? So in level 2 training, you would have understood about data hub model and then supply chain
Yes,
model,
yes.
right? Like
Sprint
data
2
hub
and Sprint 3.
correct. Data hub will be sending the data to supply chain and demand
Yes, yes.
planning, like those are spoke models. Because if you have dependencies of one model to another model, then you will build within the same workspace.
Yes.
Then if you don't want to have, if you are not feeding data to another model, then you will keep it separate.